to live the American dream. She's working at a pizza joint. You know, it's very like nostalgic 1980s, 1990s. You're a kid, you're trying to make your way in the world, and you work at your local pizza place. And she has dreams, she has hope, she has aspirations. She's just trying to go home after a long day's work. And this man who was released 14 times, who has a known violent criminal history, just decided, and it's on the other videos that we've seen from this horrible incident, that he just says, I killed that white girl, I got that white girl. And he stabs her, and the video that just came out today shows that she was very much alive and holding her neck as she bled out in that chair. And no one around her did anything. They all sat there looking on, got up and walked away, and no one sat there realizing that she was bleeding out and in complete shock and horror. This is atrocious, and this is the result of Democrat failed policies that let criminals roam our streets.
I want to show you this screenshot too. Let's show this shot. It was early in the week, and it was like from Liz Wheeler. And at time it showed all these, when you Googled early in the week, there was, from the New York Times, there was nothing. But George Floyd, 6,000. Trayvon Martin, 1,200. Kilmar Garcia, 56. Daniel Perry on it, hundreds. But nothing. Could you imagine nothing? Doesn't fit their narrative that they want. But usually they don't even know what to do because they wanted the refugees so bad. And here we are. We have a Ukrainian refugee woman who was brought into America, and this is how we're treated in our country, but it doesn't fit it. I want to show you Brian Stelter because finally it hit the media because of social media, and then it started hitting the conservative media because obviously they're not afraid to call it out, but even they're still afraid to call it out. Black on white crime is such a big thing in America. We pretend that it's white on black crime when it's not. It's way more in the other way, even though there's such a small population. But until people speak the truth to power, which they're always afraid, politicians are afraid. And I actually don't blame them, Tiffany, because what are they called if they do speak it out? And they're called racist, all sorts of names, and it can hurt their career. So it's terrible that the media created this. But watch what Brian Stelter did. Instead of saying the media brought this to attention, look how he calls it out.
Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday when he was heading home from New York City. He didn't seem to know much about it. He said he would get briefed, and then today, Trump did know all about it. That's exactly what has happened here. This story has trickled up from local news to social media and now to the president's attention. And it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist, stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping. But there are also legitimate questions about this so-called career criminal, someone who had been a repeat offender. And those questions, I hope they're not lost amid all of the cesspool kind of comments on social media.
I mean, he says at the end, I hope it's not lost. You're the one who's making it lost. You're the one who's saying it's MAGA media who's making this a football. Wouldn't you say, I'm glad that other media outlets brought this to the attention to the American people and to Trump? And local media didn't cover it, Brian, so don't give me that. Well, and the only reason you had to cover it because the president mentioned it. So once the president mentions it, he has to cover it. But I blame the media. It's so horrible. This guy should be fired if there's any justification, if there's any fair media. Well, give me your thoughts on that clip.
Yeah, I don't think there is fair media when it comes to CNN and all these, horribly legacy liberal outlets that are just obsessed with the narrative. I mean, let's not forget that North Carolina, right, during the George Floyd incident, they passed a racial equity for criminal justice thing that saw homicides increase by 40%. Now, CNN's not covering that either. They're not covering the dozens and dozens of white women that have been brutally murdered by non-white men in the last year. We are seeing them pop up all over social media today, this whole week. It's just continuing. And I mean, you look at women like Rachel Morin, who were murdered by an illegal immigrant in Maryland. They refuse to cover these stories because they're white, blonde women that do not fit their narrative. And they cannot handle the fact that statistics don't lie. We know why the majority of our jail population is African-American males. We know that the highest crime rate is black on black crime, followed by black on white and black on Asian.
Imagine we didn't have. Imagine it's 2025. Imagine we didn't have social media or alternative media. Poor girl would be dead. Nobody would even hear about it. Nobody would even hear a whisper of it. No one would know about it. That an African American stabbed her to death, and it's. I want to go to cut 10 because finally Trump was furious about this, and he did make a Oval Office statement. Watch this.
And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests.
You know, Trump brought it to the attention to the American people, so they have to cover it. But, you know, he's a sick, evil person that stabbed it. What are your thoughts on that? Trump finally brought it to the attention.
I think it's incredible. I think this is exactly what the Trump administration is doing so well. They are bringing attention to the stories of Americans and legal citizens who have been just destroyed and killed and murdered and raped by people who should be locked up. I mean, bring back insane asylums. That's my take. I think President Trump talked about that recently a few weeks ago. We need to be doing something to get the criminals off the street. That's why deploying the National Guard to DC, to Chicago, to LA is so vital and important. We need to make it safe to walk down the streets in public again, to be a child, to be a woman without fear of getting raped or murdered on a daily basis. That was Biden's America. This is Trump's America. And in Trump's America, we're making America safe again.
I think the minority, mom, grandma, father, wants a safe community, African-American community, and they would welcome the president to bring in the National Guard. So, Tiffany, thanks for joining us on Media Exposed. I'll see you soon. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
A word from our sponsor partner at Hotel Planet. You're frustrated with how confusing it is these days to find and book a good hotel for yourself, your family, for large group events. Our friends at Hotel Planet have a cutting-edge hotel booking. It's easy to navigate. It's AI-powered. Has over 1.4 million properties across all their booking categories. They've been in the business for more than 20 years. If you call their reservation, you'll speak to a real-life human, not a chap. Go to hotelplanet.com for all your travel needs. I want to thank Kaj Larson for joining us, Tiffany Marie for joining us, David Zier and Caitlin Sinclair. I want to thank Fran and Erin in the control room for doing a great job. We'll see you again next week on Media Exposed.